It's time now to talk about the royal family. Well, let's go over to my esteemed next guest, the former BBC royal correspondent, Jennie Bond. Hello, Jennie.
Hello.
The royal family, I suggest this may well be, in terms of the public attitude to them, the worst crisis they've had since they seriously misjudged the public mood after the death of Diana. There was a sort of outpouring of rage, fury against the royal family then, because they got it all wrong. They raised their game, if you remember, and just about pulled through. Right now, I think they have a similar problem. Polls are revealing, you know, that only 45% of the country are supporting the royals at the moment. The majority of people in polls are saying, had enough of them. And here's their problem. I don't think that they have the king. William's doing his best, but the king, the rest of the royal family, they just have not addressed the Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor problem adequately. You know, a kind of brief statement from William while he's in Saudi Arabia, where his entire tour has been completely overshadowed by this, saying, you know, I'm very concerned about allegations against Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, and our thoughts are with the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Quite right, quite right. The king then finally says something similar. I think what we're calling for, what we're demanding, is a much more effusive apology. We want the king to mention his brother, to talk about exactly what he's charged with or allegedly accused of, but more importantly, to talk more of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, the sex crime victims of that guy. The royal family hitherto have been very slow on the uptake with this, and they have not been dynamic enough in this situation. And as I say, Jennie, I think this is a big crisis, and I reckon they need to raise their game. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think you're right to draw a parallel with Diana's death. Then, back in 1997, they couldn't keep up with public opinion, and they were caught on the hop all the time trying to change the funeral plans, etc. And similarly now, I think they are being caught on the hop. They can't catch a break. They can't get ahead of this story. One reason for that is that they are seeing the release of the Epstein emails at the same time as the rest of us, so they don't know what's coming. And almost every day, it's nearly a fortnight, isn't it now, that allegation after revelation, allegation, whatever you're going to call it, has come out day after day, and they're sort of playing catch up to an extent. I think that strong action has been taken by the king at the end of last year, stripping Andrew of all his titles, booting him this year out of his home. But I think I agree with you that the time has come for firmer action. Personally, I think we've got two things going on here, actually, because the allegations today is that he released further confidential information to Epstein when he was trade envoy, very sensitive information about possible investment opportunities of in the minerals of Afghanistan. What on earth was he doing if he doing that? Yeah. Absolute madness. So we've got his behaviour as trade envoy, and of course his then behaviour as regard these sex allegations and his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein as a convicted paedophile. So two things going on in parallel. I think on the trade envoy allegations, the palace must be absolutely transparent, release all documents they have to do with his time as trade envoy. And on the sex allegations, I think they need to say to Andrew, and I think the king needs to say, look, Andrew, if you do not comply with the requests to say what you know to the American authorities, if you don't do that, then you're not staying at Sandringham. I'm not funding your lifestyle. You're out on your own. Yeah,
exactly right. The public in these polls are calling for the king to no longer look after his brother, to kick him out of Sandringham. But I think if Andrew responded to the demands for him to be a little bit more contrite in these circumstances and perhaps make a statement himself, then the king, people would accept the king looking after him. But if he doesn't do this, the king, I think, has got to kick him out. As we're speaking, Jennie, and this is very significant, literally this has broken in the last couple of minutes, Thames Valley Police have confirmed that Andrew Mountbatten is now at the centre of a criminal investigation over his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. So that is the first official confirmation that he is now being criminally investigated by the Thames Valley Police. Again, a very significant development that I think the royal family somehow need to respond to. More dramatically than they have so far. It hasn't been enough so far, so much so that some people are saying, well, look, the king just can't seem to handle these situations. He's a man of a different era. It's time for him to step aside and let William take over. It does seem to me that William is the only one of the royal family who really all the way through this has had an idea of just how serious this situation is. The king seems to me to be someone who thought he could get away with the usual kind of vague statement and off we go to open another library. Things have got to change.
I'm not sure that's entirely fair to Charles, actually. I'm told by the palace that he has been taking the lead on this, that the supposition that a lot of us made that William was pushing his father is rather exaggerated. Okay. Because it is, of course, it is quite hard for Charles because Andrew is his brother, and I think he is concerned about his physical and mental well-being. I mean, he has to an extent, I suppose, to offer him some protection because he is he's under a security threat, clearly. And mental health these days is something everyone has to talk about. However, what you've told me now about the police not only assessing the information but actually investigating him, a criminal investigation, is clearly extremely severe and grave. And I don't know what the palace will do next.
Yeah, here I am sounding all very knowledgeable, but I agree with you. I don't know how they go forward with this. I think the best way, Jenny, would be, I mean, it's a long shot, but if the king could persuade his brother Andrew to at least make some kind of public statement, to clear the air. That would, I think, buy the royal family some time. But the trouble with Andrew is, he's just an appalling oaf who doesn't seem to understand. He has no comprehension of the trouble that he's got himself into and the low point, the astonishing low point he has brought the royal family to.
He is a man who's always lacked self-awareness, and his true character has been one of a very arrogant man, entitled man. The man I knew was all of those things. I think this was the problem for his mother as well. I have sympathy for her, but even her reputation, Queen Elizabeth, her reputation is being tarnished, certainly questioned. I mean, why didn't she see what her son was doing? On the other hand, I know as a mother, and you perhaps as a parent, you want to believe your child. And if they say, I didn't do it, you want to defend them, and I guess that's where she was.
Yeah,
she was blinded by her love.
She loved. We all know Andy was her favourite and all that. But that you've brought up that sort of issue of the Queen and Prince Andrew. Here's where I think the public owe a massive owed an apology. The fact that Prince Andrew, as he was then, possibly with the financial help of his mother, the late great Queen, handed Virginia Giuffre £12 million not to go to civil court in New York. That was effectively the royal family handing over hush money to keep Jeffrey Epstein's sordid secrets. And that is a very bad look for the royal family. I think at the very least they need to apologise for that.
Well, you may well be right, yes. I mean, I suppose the palace view of that would be that the Jubilee was coming up. They didn't want the Queen's Jubilee
It's not enough, though, is it, Jenny?
Overshadowed. And it's not. They're in serious trouble now. I think you're quite right. I think it will come through. I think the monarchy will come through. But they've got a big battle, a PR battle, a battle with public opinion now. And they need to do the right thing. They need to be seen to be absolutely scrupulously transparent and accountable on all of these issues.
I think you're exactly right, and their problem is that traditionally they're not particularly transparent, the royal family. They like to keep their secrets, but something has happened and they need to abandon their impulse to secrecy. Jenny, fantastic to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time.